For ACUsports.com, I'm Grant Boone talking to senior linebacker Sam Denmark with the season opener upon us. It comes Saturday night against the University of New Mexico in Albuquerque. You're going home.
Yes, sir. Going pretty close. I'm down in Las Cruces, but I've been up to Albuquerque plenty of times.
Yeah, it is from the land of enchantment, Sam Denmark, and it's been an enchanting ride here for you these last 4 years. You're on the verge of becoming ACU's all-time leader in tackles, and yet with all that's familiar about the time you've been at ACU, there's a lot of newness, isn't there, with what's going on with the program. As you get ready for this first game, tell me what the feelings are. Are you still getting the butterflies?
Oh, of course. I'll never not get the butterflies going into a game. Even for our scrimmage last week when we suited up, I was getting the little butterflies, and it was kind of interesting. I was telling some of the young guys, I'm like, that feeling will never go away. It always happens to me, but I think it's good for you. It helps you focus a little more and play good.
You've been a part of some huge games. Your very first game as a Wildcat was on national television, ESPNU, in the Georgia Dome. You've beaten an FBS team before. In terms of the environment that you expect, I don't know if you've been to a game there before growing up there in Albuquerque. What do you think you and the rest of your teammates are in for Saturday night?
I think it's going to be a great atmosphere. I've never been to a season opener in this stadium, but I have been to a couple of games, and I expect them to be going crazy for the first game of the season, and you just got to treat it like every regular game out there for you guys.
Last season you opened against Air Force, and they run like the other service academies, Navy and Army. They run that triple option, that veer, or whatever you want to call it, the wishbone. There are a lot of different names for it and different variations. New Mexico, as great as those service academies are at running the football, led the nation in rushing offense last year with 350 yards per game. Theirs isn't exactly like the service academies, but what specifically are the challenges with trying to defend a team that loves and is committed to running the football?
Well, when you face teams like Air Force and such, they're playing that old school option. It's very similar, but they come out of the shotgun pistol sets and things like that, so it's going to look a lot different. One thing you'll notice watching UNM is their speed. They get off the ball very quickly, and if you don't fit a hole right, if you put two guys in one and leave one open, then they're going to gash you for it.
The term assignment football keeps coming up, talking to your coaches, and really what does that mean to a player?
To a player, it means if you got your one gap, you've got to respect that gap and you've got to stay with it, because if you leave it, then they're going to gash you for it, and then the coach isn't going to be pretty happy with you.
It is kind of a good example of what happens all season long. You have an assignment to do, and if you try to do, maybe sometimes if you're tempted to try to do more than what your job is supposed to do, it can get you into trouble, can't it?
Oh, yes. The tough thing about playing an option team is that it'll seem so simple at times, but you've got to stick to what your eyes see and what you believe you see. You cannot get yourself out of, you can't get yourself in a frenzy, as our coach likes to say. You got to respect your position and your gap and trust that your teammate is going to fill his gap.
Well, the season gets started Saturday night. It's a 7 o'clock kickoff, Abilene time, 6 o'clock Mountain time there in Albuquerque. Sam Denmark will be leading that ACU defense against the University of New Mexico.